From Midland, Odessa, and Big Spring, this is ABC Big 2 News at 10.
Developing now at 10, at least 4 mass shootings this Easter weekend in the U.S., including in South Carolina, New York, and Pennsylvania. This chopper video was taken just after 90 gunshots rang out at an Airbnb in Pittsburgh. Good evening, I'm Rob Tuke. Thanks for joining us tonight on this Easter weekend. At least 31 people were injured, and video you're about to see shows the moments when those gunshots rang out. ABC's Mona Kosabdi starts us off tonight with those details.
Another mass shooting claiming 2 young lives, teenage boys overnight in Pittsburgh, adding to the spike in gun deaths in America. Police say more than 200 people, many of them underage, were at a party at this Airbnb when suddenly a hail of bullets, more than 90 were fired.
Dog, he got a gun, dog. He got a gun. He's about to shoot.
The panic sending partygoers tumbling down steps in their efforts to make it to the front door. Others breaking bones after leaping from windows.
They're shooting! Oh my God!
Besides those 2 dead, 8 others were wounded, as police believe an altercation led to the drawing of multiple weapons.
When we heard the bang, 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 we looked out the window and people were running out the door and screaming, yelling, crying, and my wife, I said, get away from the window.
Innocent people were struck. We're sick about it, and we're going to do everything we can to get those responsible for it.
Authorities tonight saying they have not yet made any arrests. And just hours earlier, chaos also erupting at this mall in Columbia, South Carolina. 9 people shot, 5 others were injured when police believe an ongoing conflict between at least 2 suspects resulted in an exchange of gunfire. The Easter weekend shootings coming on the heels of the random mass shooting in Brooklyn Tuesday that left 10 people shot, and underscores nationwide concerns over gun violence.
I say over and over again, there are many rivers that feed the sea of violence. This is a national issue. It's not a red state, blue state.
Mass shootings, defined as when 4 or more people are shot in a single incident, are up 66% in the last 2 years. In a statement, Airbnb said...
Also developing tonight, a structure fire in Odessa. This video was taken just before 6 o'clock tonight, east of Loop 338, north of Business 20, on Newell Road and Alcove Street. Neighbors tell us a shop caught fire, and as you can see, those giant plumes of smoke turned part of the afternoon sky black. We reached out to Odessa Fire Rescue for details, but we'll make sure to keep you updated when we learn them. And now to a live look tonight from our Midland Tower camera. We saw some winds today and a nice sunset. It's been a bit warm too as well, and ABC Big 2's Bridget Sarpong has a check on our local weather for us tonight.
And now your forecast first on ABC Big 2 News.
That's right, Rob. Warm and windy for an Easter Sunday. And actually, speaking of Easter Sunday, I got the peeps here showing us the temperatures. This morning, we saw 50-degree temperatures. Then in the afternoon, we saw 75. And then in the evening, 89. And we're continuing to see our temperatures drop just a little bit. I'll have more of this new week's forecast later on the show. Back over to you, Rob.
Thanks so much, Bridget. Across Texas, a car crash investigation is underway involving a train in Harris County. Deputies say 2 people were killed after they drove their car around another car stopped at the train track despite the crossing arms being down. The Chrysler 300 car drove onto the track and was struck by an Amtrak train carrying more than 80 people on board, but none of them suffered any life-threatening injuries.
At this point, we've discovered 2 people that were ejected from the vehicle. Both have been pronounced here at the scene.
And now to rising fuel prices. It's putting President Joe Biden in a tough political spot. As we told you earlier this week, the current administration is making plans to resume drilling on public land. That's a flip on a 2020 campaign promise that's angering climate activists in Congress. ABC's Mary Alice Parks has more on this decision.
The Biden administration set to restart the sale of onshore leases for oil and gas drilling on federal lands. 144,000 acres of public lands will be up for lease in these 9 states. The move upsetting environmental activists in the president's Democratic base. The decision a clear departure from this 2020 campaign promise.
And by the way, no more drilling on federal lands, period. Period, period, period.
But the White House saying their hands were tied. The president did sign an order pausing the sale of new leases when he came into office, but a federal judge in Louisiana said they had to go forward. The decision this week coming while gas prices are spiking. The White House facing political pressure to look for ways to supercharge domestic production. Still, given his pledges to curb greenhouse gas emissions, environmentalists are fuming.
There's no way for Biden to meet his campaign climate promises as well as his international commitments unless he actually addresses leasing on public lands. And the first step is stopping new leasing.
The Department of Interior insisting they worked to thread a careful needle, raising the royalties of the plots for the first time, nearly 50%, promising to include the input of tribes and taking environmental concerns into account like never before. And only a small fraction of the land oil and gas industry leaders had hoped for ended up included.
The announcement is mixed signals from the administration regarding leasing. This is a first step, but they need to do much more.
In reality, oil and gas companies already currently lease hundreds of thousands of acres not currently in use.
And that was Mary Alice Parks reporting the sale of new leases are expected to start as early as tomorrow. Now to the war in Europe. Russian forces are focusing on the eastern part of Ukraine. Fierce firefights are nonstop and missile strikes continue. The U.S. has begun delivery of $800 million worth of new weapons to Ukraine. Russia has sent a formal diplomatic message to the U.S. and all nations arming Ukraine, demanding they stop sending weapons or risk, quote, unpredictable consequences. Here's ABC's Jenna Barnes with the details.
A Russian deadline for the last Ukrainian troops in the besieged port of Mariupol to surrender or die came and went Sunday.
We will not surrender. We will not leave our country, our families, our land. So we will fight absolutely till the end, till the win in this war.
Ukraine's leadership refusing to let the pulverized city fall to the Russians after 7 weeks of bombardment.
The city doesn't exist anymore.
The Russian military estimates the last pocket of Ukrainian resistance in the city, a few thousand fighters, are holding out in a steel mill. Some estimates show tens of thousands of civilians have been killed there. But Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says no one knows the exact number.
And we heard about 5,000 children deported from this region to Russian side. Where are they? Nobody knows.
Ukraine's foreign minister says he hopes for a political route to peace, but further Russian attacks in Mariupol could put a stop to those talks.
Mariupol may be a red line.
Russia's capture of the city would free up its forces for an intensified offensive for control of the Donbas region in the east, allow Russia to secure a land corridor to Crimea, and deprive Ukraine of a major port after the humiliating loss of the flagship of its Black Sea fleet in what Ukraine claims was a missile strike.
I think all over the world, all the countries have to be worried.
Zelensky says it's possible Russian President Vladimir Putin could resort to using nuclear weapons. Austria's chancellor met with Putin.
I don't know if he really uses it, but he knows that he can threat the world with these weapons. I think he believes he is winning the war.
Well, friends, Easter weekend is coming to a close, but we were graced with warm temperatures. We continue to see a warm and dry day. Couple days this week. I'll have that answer after the break.
And surrounded by debris and rubble, a Texas church moves forward with Easter service after a tornado ripped through its town. Their incredible recovery next. Plus, a break-in at home forces a teenager to take matters into her own hands. What she did to the intruder and what police are now saying.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever AT4 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC. Step up to GMC with 0% financing on these GMC models. We are professional grade GMC.
Your debit card is always with you, which means it can be easy to lose, and that's never a good feeling. But with Card Valet from MTCU, turning your card off is as easy as a swipe, just in case you can't find it. And with MTCU's mobile app, starting a budget has never been easier. A few clicks and you can view your monthly spending habits. Card Valet and mobile budgeting. Just a couple of benefits of mobile banking with MTCU. Your partner in lending, your partner in life.
Your all-time country favorites, Kicks 99.1. The big money dollar bill game is back and better than ever.
We're talking money.
Oh, yeah. Big money.
Look for dollar bills with 991 in the serial number. Listen to Big D, Bubba, and Amanda at 6:20 and 7:20 in the morning. 5 plays every weekday to stretch your $1 bills into 100, 1,000, even $10,000 cash.
This is Linda. I stretched a $1 bill into $10,000.
From your all-time country favorites, Kicks 99.1.
Get ready for a night of laughs. The Boys and Girls Club of the Permian Basin invites you to join us for the Fire and Ice Ball at the Odessa Marriott. There will be live entertainment, including comedians and voice impersonators Frank Caliendo and Mo Amir. All proceeds will benefit the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Permian Basin to continue to provide enriching experiences in a positive environment. For sponsorship and seating information, go to basinkids.org.
When Laura vowed to love me, she wasn't thinking about cancer. I'm just grateful my team of experts at Texas Oncology is close by, so I can still start my mornings right here. I'll see you all tonight.
Watch Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Beck from West Tex on Good Morning Basin. And now, your local weather authority forecast.
Well, as you can see, the sky is dark. That means we're coming to a close for our Easter weekend, but, definitely not too bad whatsoever. What we do see is some light shining nice and bright to close out the Easter weekend. Not really any stars whatsoever, but not even clouds at all. But really, for overall, our Easter forecast did show some really great temperatures. This morning, we woke up to sitting at 50-degree temperatures. This afternoon, we got all the way up to 75. And then around 4 p.m., that's when we really increased to some really great temperatures, sitting at 89 degrees throughout the entire day. Not a single cloud in sight, and really throughout the evening, not a single cloud at all. Now, taking a look at what we're usually used to this time in April is 81-degree temperatures, but today we got 8 degrees warmer to 89. But as warm as we're back in 1975 when we enjoyed 97-degree temperatures. Taking a look at our lows, we did come in just a little bit short for that today. 49 degrees for our Easter Sunday, but usually around this time in April, we're definitely used to 52-degree temperatures. Today we were pretty low, but not as low as we're back in 1947 when we were only sitting at 27 degrees. So definitely not too bad whatsoever. A warm kind of day, but right now, at the same time, 24 hours, we're actually 3 degrees cooler in the Midland Odessa area. In Big Spring, we increased by 6 degrees. In Snyder, 10 degrees warmer. In Seminole, 9 degrees warmer. And really in Hobbs, 13 degrees warmer. So really throughout the entire Permian Basin, many of us have increased our temperatures this same time 24 hours ago. Now taking a look at what we are seeing tonight as the sun did go down around 8:19 p.m. We're able to see that now we're dipping our temperatures from the 80s into the 60s at 64 degrees. Our humidity is sitting at only 16%, our dew point 8, and then our winds are sitting pretty calm. Just yesterday we saw some winds, up in front and center in our faces. Now for the kiddos going off to school tomorrow morning, you're going to start the day at 53 degrees, still pretty sunny, warm, and a dry start. But then we get into 8 degrees by the time they are leaving school. It's going to be very sunny, perfect enough for whatever after-school activities you do have going on. Now, we do have a weather alert going on, a high wind watch over in Collinsburg, lasting until Tuesday, 4 a.m. Central Time. So in the meantime, around then, please be sure to take the necessary precautions because it does show that our tree pollen is sitting pretty high, and then also our dust pollen is sitting high as well. And then we have our weeds and our grass and our mold sitting at a low level. So do take necessary precautions so that you can make the most of your Monday and also the most of your Tuesday. Now, we will see a little bit of some rain going on later on this week, but mostly around 9 a.m. we'll start it off with some rain drizzle, and then we get into 6 p.m. That's when we do see that the rain has left the West Texas area, but definitely not too bad whatsoever. Just a little bit of rain drizzle, and then we get into Friday, and then just some cloud cover and not some terrible temperatures, or not some terrible weather conditions. But speaking of temperatures, taking a look at tomorrow tomorrow, we will be sitting at 81 degrees, very sunny. And then, Rob, we're sitting at 77 come Tuesday. And then we have some PM showers a little bit on Friday night, but definitely not too bad whatsoever.
Definitely something we have to keep an eye on. Bridget, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Well, check this out. A woman with an enormous Easter hat. She was part of the Easter parade in New York City today. People got decked out in hats and costumes, filling the streets of Manhattan. This event dates back to the 1870s, and people would use it to showcase their latest fashions. It was noted to be a little absurd. And some people are getting bored of the traditional Easter egg hunt, so forget land. They're doing it all underwater, because why not? This happened at the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary today. The underwater Easter egg hunt raises money to help a charity that supports children in need. And get this, real hard-boiled eggs were used to prevent any possible adverse impacts on the marine ecosystem. And new at 10 in Bell County, here in Texas, one church is just about gone. A tornado ripped it apart, but the pastor there in Salado said he felt called to still preach today. Even on having no sanctuary to worship in on Easter Sunday, that wasn't stopping his community from giving praise. ABC's Jayla Washington has their story.
Even when it may seem like one of the worst days, those who are deeply rooted in their faith will find the strength to sing like it's their best. The key to trusting that everything is going to work out, these churchgoers are showing us, is to be present and thankful, even in the midst of tragedy. Humbled and filled with gratitude, Donnie Jackson, the pastor of First Cedar Valley, preaches this Sunday's Easter sermon with a full heart, knowing he and his congregation aren't alone. From behind this pulpit that dates back 100 years, linked to his own family's history, Pastor Jackson says this is where healing begins. Surrounded by destruction, they're still hugging and hands intertwined in unity.
I was with the governor yesterday with all the first responders. I don't believe I've ever seen the response to a disaster any greater than this one was.
Even when it may seem like one of the worst days, those who are deeply rooted in their faith will find the strength to sing like it's their best.
And that was Jayla Washington reporting. Now, a community in New York City is rattled by a gruesome and jarring discovery in a park. A woman was found dead in a duffel bag.
Horrible. How would that make anyone feel? You know, it's insane. You know, it's crazy. It's really horrible.
And investigators are working to find the killer who was caught on camera dragging the duffel bag through the streets. All of this happened while the woman's husband and son were across the country looking at colleges. ABC's Jennifer Beesram reports.
Orshia Gall, now identified as the Queens woman, discovered inside a suspicious duffel bag Saturday morning on Metropolitan Avenue under the Jackie Robinson Parkway. Police sources tell Pix 11 News that Gall was a married mother of two boys, ages 13 and 17. While her husband and oldest son were out of town in Oregon, Gall allegedly told her 13-year-old son she was going to see a show Friday night. Police sources say Gall was in fact on a date with another man, who they say killed her in the basement of her Juneau Street home and dumped her body half a mile away.
No, I'm sure I've seen her around the neighborhood. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't even know what to say. Oh, that's terrible. I'm kind of a little nauseous about it.
Neighbors say there was nothing unusual about the family, who has lived on the block for close to a decade. Detectives went door to door asking what people may have seen or heard late Friday night and Saturday morning.
This is unimaginable by anyone's standards.
Now to the quick thinking of a teenager who took matters into her own hands when an intruder burst into her home. Her actions are being credited with helping police make an arrest. ABC's Faith Abube takes us through what exactly happened.
After police in Massachusetts say this teenager's courageous act sent an alleged intruder running.
How old are you, dear?
I'm 14.
14-year-old Avery Cormier tells ABC News affiliate WCVB it was just before 7:30 a.m. on the first day of spring break. She was home alone with her younger sister when she heard footsteps in the house.
I thought that my mom might have just forgotten her phone and came back until I realized, that's not my mom.
Cormier says adrenaline kicked in. She grabbed these 2 steak knives and went straight after the trespasser.
I was screaming at the top of my lungs to get out of my house, get out.
The intruder, startled, ran out, but not before Cormier, out of breath, took out her phone and recorded this video of the suspect vehicle leaving the property.
I got him out of the house. I scared him. I took a video of his truck leaving, so I have his license plate.
She had the wherewithal in the moment of extreme stress and scary event to be able to think on her feet.
Thanks to that recording and Cormier's quick thinking, shortly after the incident, police tracked down and arrested 58-year-old Joseph Ridge, seen here being driven to jail. Police say he has an extensive criminal record and was out on bail for an unrelated crime. Ridge, flanked by local authorities, led away to face charges, including aggravated breaking and entering.
I think it was very scary.
I'm blessed to have a daughter like her.
Cormier is glad she and her sister made it out safely, but she says in hindsight she should have stayed and called police instead of going after the intruder with steak knives. Well, Hollywood is rolling out some major movie releases. Find out which ones are worth your time and which ones aren't. All that and more next.
The biggest sale of the season at Furniture Row. So get ready because everything is on sale. Save on living, dining, and bedroom. Plus 4 years, no interest, and special purchases while they last. The biggest sale of the season on now at Furniture Row.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach. Not everyone can say them, but we can. Made in America. Visit your local dealer for the Made in America BGA 57 battery blower. Real steel. Find yours.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever AT4 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC. Step up to GMC with 0% financing on these GMC models. We are professional grade GMC.
The Bachelor, live on stage, hosted by Becca Kufrin.
If you love Bachelor at all, you will love this.
Starring the cast of recent seasons as your on-stage Bachelor.
It's a season of The Bachelor unfolding in front of your eyes. It's just a completely different experience than sitting at home watching it on the couch.
Experience the ultimate Bachelor Nation fan party.
Seeing it really live, you feel like you're in the mansion.
A wildly flirtatious and interactive evening. The Bachelor, live on stage.
Friday, April 22nd. Get tickets at WagnerNoel.com.
It's the biggest sale of the season at Furniture Row. So get ready because everything is on sale. Save on living, dining, and bedroom. Plus 4 years, no interest, and special purchases while they last. The biggest sale of the season on now at Furniture Row.
Real steel. Find yours at SteelDealers.com.
Trending now at 10 o'clock. An agnostic boxer who survives a motorcycle accident uses his second chance to become a Catholic priest. There's also a power struggle in the magic world, where Harry Potter had quite the influence. These are just some of the movies out right now on the big screen. And our movie critic Dean Richards breaks it down for us.
Our war with the Muggles begins today!
The world as we know it is coming undone. If we're to defeat him, you'll have to trust me.
New this week is the third in the Harry Potter prequel series, Fantastic Beasts. In it, we go back for more of how some of the primary side characters came to be who they are. Now, this movie pretty much demands that you have seen the other movies first and have a working knowledge of who's who and what things mean. Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore, is the story of the power struggle over who will become the leader of the magic world over mere muggles, people without magic
magical skills. On one side of the struggle is Albus Dumbledore, the one-day headmaster of Hogwarts Wizarding School, played by Jude Law. On the other hand, the dark wizard, Gellert Grindelwald, now played by Mads Mikkelsen, replacing Johnny Depp in the role. Set in the 1920s and 30s, it's an interesting look at how fascism even worked its way into the magic world in this pre-Hitler era. It also makes an ironic statement about our own recent elections, for which many feel a certain kind of dark magic may have been involved. To further the premise, the movie interjects all kinds of side characters for dimension and charm. Ditto with its use of magic wand waving and general wizardry to maintain the whimsy and action. Neither always achieve their intended goals. The acting, stories, characters, and effects are all fine here, but nothing jumps out of this nearly 2.5-hour journey that couldn't have benefited from a little more movie magic. It's a Dean's List C+ in theaters only.
I think God saw something in you worth saving, but it's up to you to decide what you've got to offer.
Also for the holiday weekend is the faith-based offering A Passion Project from Mark Wahlberg and Mel Gibson, both very devout Catholics in real life, telling the true story called Father Stu. It's about a troubled agnostic boxer who survives a motorcycle accident and uses his second chance to become a Catholic priest, all while reconciling with his abusive, mostly absent father. Solid performances here by Wahlberg and Gibson powered this redemption story that may be singing to the choir, but is refreshingly real, especially for a faith-based movie that aren't usually rated R. Father Stu is a Dean's List B-.
Well, and that was Dean Richards reporting. Now, Cold Stone Creamery tonight has a special edition for Easter, Peeps. This holiday season, Cold Stone ice cream goers can add the chick-shaped marshmallow treat to get mixed into their ice cream or sundaes, or on the cold classic marble slab. Now, you won't find this Easter egg for sale. Two chocolate artisans from the Cadbury world in England have created an enormous creation. It's a creamy sculpture made up of 889 chocolate bars. It shows a soft spring landscape full of small leaves, flowers, grass, and fences, as well as two bunnies and an owl. The fox inside the scene were all carefully handcrafted by the chocolatiers. I do wonder what happens next, though. Do they eat it? Is there a cleanup crew? Or is it preserved forever? It's something we'll have to keep you updated on. And have you ever seen a photo of the sun this close? Up next, we share some fascinating details about this photo and why it's so important. And as we head to break, a reminder that if you see news happening, share your videos and photos on social media with us. Make sure you use the hashtag ABCBig2News. And if you haven't done it yet, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We are ABC Big 2 News.
ABC Big 2 Sports, brought to you by Glasheen Vaez and Enderman Injury Lawyers.
You miss it, don't you? The news.
Aren't you tired of all that noise?
Well, it's time to come back. Come back to something different.
I've never seen anything like this, Ashley.
Come back to the stories all the others ignore. We bring you a teenager who has been found safe. Come back to a place where your family, your kids,
your freedom really matter.
We are so much greater than the things that divide us.
Come back to the news.
News Nation.
News for all America.
Hey sis, check out this cute spot. Bougie. I prefer my coffee with a view. Time to put the work in. Safety first.
The 2022 Chevy Blazer and Trailblazer with standard Chevy Safety Assist, part of the Chevy family of SUVs. Find new experiences. Find new roads.
Very well qualified buyers can get 0% financing on most Chevy vehicles. New models are arriving weekly. Secure yours today. See your Permian Basin Chevy dealers.
Franklin continues to offer some of America's finest upholstered furniture, all made by hard-working Americans. This 102-inch sofa with reversible seat and back cushions, along with a matching love seat. Companions priced only $26.84, or less than $60 a month. And Franklin is America's only manufacturer with a forever warranty on frame and cushions. And I'm so proud that our selection of Franklin is huge. Plus, at Bob Mills, it's in stock.
Earn an associate degree in respiratory therapy from Midland College. This is a 20-month curriculum, 66 semester credit hours. This program prepares students for an allied health specialty that cares for patients with cardiopulmonary deficiencies.
Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer is an official offer to buy your car. Just enter your vehicle ID information, answer a couple questions, then receive a no-obligation offer to sell it or trade it. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car, schedule a time, and drive away with confidence. For all of the it's, KBB.com.
Well, take a look at this tonight. This stunning composite photograph of the sun was taken in early March by the European Space Agency. A camera on board the agency's solar orbiter spacecraft compiled this mosaic from 25 10-minute exposures over 4 hours, each taken one after the other, for an 83 megapixel view. Now, in comparison, your smart TV's 4K pixel rate is only 8 megapixels, about 80 megapixels of a difference. Now, this is the highest resolution view of the sun ever. And SpaceX launched a classified payload today from Vandenberg Space Force in California. Details about the mission launched by the Falcon 9 rocket have not been made public, but the payload was for the National Reconnaissance Office. And if you haven't filed your tax return yet, you better get going. The Internal Revenue Service's tax return deadline for taxpayers in most states is tomorrow, April 18th. That's also the deadline for first quarter estimated tax payments for income from self-employment, small businesses, gig economy work, and investments. And coming up after the break, Bridget will have one last look at this week's forecast. Stay tuned.
Your journey is just getting started.
Tonight and tomorrow, your favorite idols return. Everybody stand up. And for the first time of the season, we go live.
We see your future on American Idol.
American Idol tonight and tomorrow on ABC.
Midland Medical Lodge. It's not just a place to live. It's a place to call home.
Ring in the new year with Music City Mall. Put those gift cards and Christmas checks to work at more than 100 merchants. You'll find something for everyone. Beautiful Kendra Scott jewelry inside Dillard's. Fashion for every occasion. Shoes galore. Enjoy delicious food inside our food court. Or skate the all-new Rink and Roll roller rink open daily. Round out your visit with a trip to Sephora at JCPenney. Music City Mall, where you have it all. JBS and 42nd Street, Odessa.
Hey sis, check out this cute spot. Bougie. I prefer my coffee with a view. Time to put the work in. Safety first.
The 2022 Chevy Blazer and Trailblazer with standard Chevy Safety Assist, part of the Chevy family of SUVs. Find new experiences. Find new roads.
Very well qualified buyers can get 0% financing on most Chevy vehicles. New models are arriving weekly. Secure yours today. Chevy drives Texas. Find new roads.
She'll have to catch a ride, but she won't catch pertussis. Did you know adults need vaccines? Ask your doctor about the vaccines you need. Every dose matters.
Well, friends, let's take one last look at that 7-day forecast. Tomorrow is going to be great, 81-degree temperatures. It's going to be sunny, unlike Tuesday, a little bit of Friday. Tuesday, we're going to see some thunderstorms, a 30% chance of some rain showers, and then we dip into our 70s as well, but our high 70s at 77 degrees. Then that's when we increase into our 90s come Wednesday, and really throughout the rest of that weekend. And even though we're dipping in our 80s a little bit, not too bad whatsoever. Then Friday is when we actually remain in, a little bit of some rain, 20% chance of that, but it's not going to happen until after everyone's done with their day, around 6 p.m. So we can expect some rain showers. Definitely not too bad whatsoever. I'm really excited that we do get some 90-degree temperatures, Rob. Super exciting. I mean, hey, this entire Easter weekend has been great, and you have your peeps in your hand. Just great for any kind of outdoor activity.
Well, earlier you pulled up the peeps in the newscast, and I felt so compelled to bring them out. Now, you either love or or hate these on this Easter.
Exactly.
And after this show, I'm just going to put them in the microwave and joust a little bit.
That's a clever idea.
Yeah, and a waste of a pee. Sorry, guys. Well, that's all the
Go ahead.
that's all the time we have for news tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Good Morning Basin starts tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. Good night.